In life and relationships, people like to pair up and find their soulmate. But as any fan of columns would tell you, it's better to match 3. Yes, 3 is the magic number, as they say. And once you've matched 3, just like in relationships, yeah, they're bound to disappear. So don't match 3 in actual relationships. They won't like it. But anyway, that's okay, as you can just move on to your next match 3. In columns, not in relationships, honestly, trust me. So, welcome to another exciting part of the Geek Battle Gaming puzzle game retrospective. In today's episode, we'll be jumping into the well of columns, which was Sega's answer to Tetris. And it is an all-time classic puzzler. So without further ado, let's get into everything columns for the Sega Game Gear. Columns. The game that Sega fans try to convince the world is as good as Tetris. And hey, maybe there are some people who even convince themselves that Columns is better than Tetris. I say this because, for at least a little while, I was one of them. The gameplay is simple. You are once again, like in so many puzzle games, faced with a well that you need to prevent from filling up to the top. But instead of having jigsaw-like puzzle pieces that you need to fit together, or bubbles that you need to burst, or bricks that you need to break, you have shiny little diamonds and gems that will start to fall into the well in clusters of 3. A tap of the action button will change the order that they are stacked in, and your aim is to match 3 or more of the same colour to make them disappear. Now, you can't change the rotation of the stack, so they will always fall in a vertical line with one on top of another. But the good news is that you don't just get rid of them in vertical lines. 3 side by side will vanish, and 3 in a diagonal direction will also disappear. This adds so much to the strategy of how you play the game, and at times you can get rid of so many at once just by the combinations of diagonal lines and side by side, and when they disappear others will drop down and then perhaps get rid of more, so it'll be that you get rid of a whole chain. Honestly, there is nothing more exciting in a game of columns than when you place down some gems and then you start to see the whole board begin to disintegrate as diagonal connections cause an avalanche effect and more begin to connect, and that causes the chain of events that completely can change the field of play. Booyah! It's more wild and unpredictable than just getting a Tetris where 4 lines will go at a single time in that game. Now, when I was younger, I had a Game Boy, but I eventually also got a Sega Game Gear. I liked Tetris a lot, but these days I truly love it. But before I started to get decent or even good at Tetris, I would find that I enjoyed it only until it started to kick my butt. That is where I always found I enjoyed columns more. Yes, the game does get faster and quickly can fill up the well quite uncontrollably. But with the diagonals and occasions where you can quickly turn things around, I always felt I was better at Sega's game. Now, it is crazy to think that in the days of Mega Drive versus Super Nintendo and Game Boy versus Game Gear, the debate between Tetris and columns was a significant part of the battle. These days, I think Tetris is ultimately the better game. The tweaks that they've added to Tetris's gameplay over the years makes it more approachable and forgiving, and meanwhile Columns is somewhat unloved by Sega, with far less re-releases or iterations getting served up to the public. Now, occasionally you will have the Sega Mega Drive version release in a compilation, but other than perhaps the red Japanese exclusive Game Gear Micro, the way of playing Game Gear columns basically doesn't exist in a modern age. I of course still have my original Sega Game Gear, and I have the original cartridge, which plays great either on the original hardware if I'm feeling particularly nostalgic, or I can play it on my analog pocket with the adapter. Heck, I could even play this thing on the big screen TV, either with the analog pocket using the dock, or my Retron 5 with the adapter, which when plugged in makes it more of a Retron 7 or 8. Now, puzzle games are one of my favourite genres, as you can always go back for more, and even though it's repetitive, the challenge of keeping going and bettering your score keeps me wanting to keep coming back to these games. Columns is a really good one, and is one I enjoy revisiting on Sega's little portable wonder. So, what's your memories of Columns? Did you like this game? Did you think it was a Tetris beater for Sega Game Gear? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't done so already, as always, I would appreciate if you would smash that subscribe button here on the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel. And of course, do check out www.xstreamed.tv/gaming if you want the written article version of today's review. So don't forget to subscribe, because there are going to be more videos in this series looking at all of the different puzzle games from past, present and future. And I say that because I assume more puzzle games will release in the future, but by the time I cover them, it'll probably be in the past. Who knows? Anyway, until next time, stay safe, always stay extremed, and ciao for now. Boom, and we're off the air.